Yes. Ring the mom, please. What the what? What? La calle voy caminando a paso reggae para nuestra que viene de aquí para allá. Franco ya se lo va a contar. Oye, mi amigo, vamos a gozar. Eso. Yo te digo, amigo, la más adelante. Sigue tu camino por la comunidad. Disfruta, comparte este ritmo. Te hace mover, te hace mucha alegría. Llama. Mucha alegría para el corazón, mucha alegría para todos.
That'll be a different song, right?
Yeah, it's a different song. A
Okay.
very popular song, but like we'll pause that. How you doing, man?
The interview itself. How are you doing, Frank O'Jazz? How you doing today?
I'm doing very well, DJ Wanako. It's been a minute, you know. We see each other every once in a while and hang out, but I kind of like the situation where spontaneous combustion. But anyways, how you doing, man?
Yeah, I was trying to figure out how long have we known each other, and why we have not met to work this way. Because I was on radio station, you were in another radio station, and was
Well, actually, okay, go ahead, finish. I don't want to interrupt you. Go ahead. Yeah, we were both in radio stations.
So I don't know. But we were always either busy on something else, but we would meet somewhere. But we never worked that, not to this level.
Okay. I'll break it down for you, right? We both used to work at this. What was the radio station that's in front of
CPR, Community Power Radio, 97.5.
Okay, there you go, right there. So, like, I think that's where, to me, things kind of solidified in terms of me knowing you and you knowing me.
Yeah.
And that was my first experience with radio. Okay,
because you had your show CPR then.
Exactly. So I had the show on CPR. And somebody approached me just from hanging out in the neighborhood and said, "Man, you should do a show in CPR." I was like, "Really?" I didn't even know what they were talking about, because I said something I'd never thought about. I'm into just playing music and composing music and collaborating and doing outdoor performances. So radio was not something I thought about, you know what I mean? But when that suggestion came, I started to think about ideas to do. Where's that music? That's your music. Is that your music playing?
That's the background music.
Good. I just want to make sure I'm not having something interfering with.
No. That's background music. But yeah.
Yeah. I just want to make sure. Yeah. But anyways, that's good. No, it's good. It's good. Yeah.
You're good. So Yeah, me too. That kind of what happened to me too. That I wasn't like I love metal music, and so it wasn't in my view to do radio because it is not welcome music, right? It's not a music that it's well accepted. So, but I started. They gave me the chance. So, but they only kind of suggested me to play music in Spanish since the Hispanic population, and that's when I changed it because at the very beginning people thought I was bananas, that I was crazy, which I am. But I had to change it to Spanish music, and that's when it all started. That's when it went bananas because people like that stuff. I don't
But
know.
I just want to go from what you just said. Do you think a crazy person will tell you they're crazy?
If they're not honest, I mean, they won't tell you. A lot of people hide it. But me, I'm messed up in the head. I know that for a fact. I mean, but I know it. I've
Yeah.
known it for years. I mean, what kind of person listens to metal, the hardcore stream? It's somebody that is not quite right.
Yeah.
Which is my case. But that doesn't mean that it's going to change your attitude to society. No, because
No.
it's
Mhm.
something else. It's just one taste of music. But now this is the main question where I should have started. How do you start on music? Like, how do you get started on music? And talk to me about you and how do you get to music, because that's you. You're music all around. How do you start? What instrument did you start playing, or how do you get to music?
All right. First of all, I'm a self-taught musician.
Hmm.
I come from a society that where music and art, at the time I was growing up, was not
Hmm.
truly appreciated as a career that you should follow.
Hmm.
So I'm not getting the support from my family. I'm not getting the support from my parents. But it was something about what I was hearing, what I was seeing, what I was feeling,
Hmm.
and the things that were happening around me in terms of the social organizations, social connections amongst people, the social relationships
Hmm.
amongst people. This whole thing encompasses my music. I grew up in Nigeria, Lagos,
Okay.
Nigeria. That's where I'm from originally.
Oh, right on. I
And so,
didn't know. I didn't know that.
you didn't know that. You see?
No,
Well, no, but you never asked.
to me like a native person. Yeah. At what age are we talking about this first transition when we talk around this like or around
Okay, so DJ Wanako, like, so I'll just give you a brief little thing, right? So
Mhm.
you can Google, and I have a CD that I'll show you, and if you go to the Raven jukebox, you'll see some of my
Mhm.
CDs that I did. There was a first solo CD that I did. It was called
Mhm.
You.
Mhm.
Okay, and that was like an autobiography of my life in America. And I kind of did that album because I just wanted my kids to know
Mhm.
where their father came from, and who he is, So I, like, through my original music,
Mhm.
I told stories,
Mhm. Okay.
okay, about my life and what I see, So, but everything I've always done has always been an expression of, it's been like personal things.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, like, at the age of, yeah, so like my father was a Nigerian diplomat. So the reason I say that is because this is already public knowledge, but I'll just
Mhm.
repeat it a
Mhm.
little bit. For those who don't know, my father
Yeah.
was a Nigerian diplomat, and
Mhm.
I've traveled to different countries in this world.
Mhm.
We lived in Botswana, we lived in Southern Africa, Botswana, we lived in France, we lived in Tanzania, and some other places.
Uh-huh.
So with all that, those musical experiences and culture really
Mhm.
got me to understanding things through music.
See, I
Every,
didn't know all this, like,
well, that's the whole point of talking to somebody and finding out exactly what's happening.
Exactly,
And
exactly.
so I grew up with the music of Fela Kuti,
Mm.
amongst other musicians, great musicians from Africa. And in this Franco, not me, the same Franco, but like with a C, Franco,
Mhm.
TPOK jazz. And these people told stories
Mhm.
through music. For me, especially Fela Kuti, was like what I would say. He was like a newspaper for the common man.
Mhm.
You know what I mean by that?
Yeah.
Which means that he's able to communicate what's happening in around them that they didn't understand through music.
No.
So of course, Africa, he became a threat to the government,
Hmm.
because he's actually communicating things to people,
Hmm.
and that like people were like, wow, really, and he was attracting a lot of people. He was a threat, a real big threat to the Nigerian government at the time.
You're talking about your father?
Not my father. I'm talking about Fela Kuti.
Oh, Fela Kuti. Okay.
You know Fela Kuti, right?
No, not really.
Okay, I think you might want to do some homework on that. I think you'll be very pleased
Mhm.
with what you learn about
Well,
sometimes,
yeah. I'm curious.
yeah, and so like, but my father, I'm just saying, my father gave me, because of his job, gave me the opportunity to have all these experiences. That's what
Mhm.
that's the whole point of what I'm trying to say.
Mhm. But was he supportive to you in your music career?
Well, I think I would say in many African cultures, and I think in many other cultures, non-Western cultures, right? Music is not taken as a very, people look for you to be an engineer or a doctor, or
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. My dad
That's
was a musician, and he never wanted me to have anything to do with, or none of us, to do
Mhm.
with. He was a mariachi all his life, but
Yeah.
he didn't want us to have anything to do with music.
But it's funny because there was, like I told you, like in some of the music that I listened to, I learned a lot of things about life, because these musicians actually spoke about real life or what was happening to them.
Uh-huh.
There's a musician by the name of Nico Mbarga,
Uh-huh.
right? And he wrote a song called Music Line,
Mhm.
which means the music career.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
And he talked about how his parents didn't want him to play music. And then he says, well, you know what? This is what I love. He went and did it. But when he came back with the money that he was making, they changed their minds.
So he did a job. He did a good
Yeah.
job. Huh?
Yeah, they told him everything that like music does not attract. Like, for example, when you're a musician, you're open to a lot of women, drinks, drugs, I mean, all kinds of things, So I mean, and which rightfully as a parent, you have to be really concerned that your kids don't get into some extreme situation, right?
Yeah.
But it shouldn't take away from the art of, if a kid is gifted, that you should try to support them in the best way, not to discourage them and say, hey, you can't do this because of this, and then you end up not doing it.
That's my case.
You see? And then you end up not doing it. And to me, that's not an option. That was not an option.
Yeah, because I've seen you with your kids. They all play instrument. They all enjoy what they're doing. I mean, that's the dream come true right there.
Yeah, but the thing about it, honestly, I'm lucky. We're in a lucky situation because it came from them, not from me.
You were never pushy.
No, because I know what that means, what that feels like. When somebody forces you to do things that, especially music is a spiritual thing. It's an emotional thing. You can't, you got to be very, very careful with that, as to how you approach it. And so, like, everything that came from them, first it started with my son. First, the drummer, Julian Chinedu Onome. Now he's not only a drummer, but a producer too. And he produces his sister, but everything started at home. It was just everybody, and then, it's like me and him. And then my daughter, she just gave it like, I want to sing. I said, you sure? And there's something about knowing the terrain of this business, which is It's a
Very
it's a
complicated. Yeah.
and sometimes you just gotta. It's tough love where you have to tell your kids the reality of the situation,
Uh-huh.
not to sugarcoat anything, not
You're
to
right.
make it. Yeah, and so like both my wife and I have just been honest and just letting them know this is what the terrain looks like
Hmm.
for doing. It's not like you're going to be an overnight success. You might end up doing this for the rest of your life, just doing the,
Hmm.
but at least you're doing something you love, something you
Yeah.
enjoy. You know what I mean? That's what we're all looking for at the end of the day.
Yeah. Yeah. Uh, do what you like. I mean, I'm a frustrated musician because I was never able to learn, but I don't know, because I got into communications, but I admire everyone, that develops music. That's something that I do admire in all forms of music. It took me years, but now, I mean, I support it. Now I'm trying to get back to support local musicians. That's why I wanted to start with you, because you're the ones that I've known the longest, and we
Okay,
want to
so
learn.
so
Mhm.
like I told you from like the beginning of
The
how I
career.
started. Yeah, so like many years ago, I used to do when my kids were growing up.
Mhm.
Besides just being in my studio right here in my house, right, we would also do outdoor performances, right, on the front porch.
I've seen him
Yes, but it
many
was
times.
yes, so it was like occasional things, right? Because
Mhm.
at the time when they were young, there was not much for kids and families to do. Not much,
Mhm.
nothing at that time. No playground. You had to go across 16th Street to go to a playground. You had to go to Adams Mills to go to a playground.
Mhm.
For the kids. There weren't a lot of things for families to do, to keep
Mhm.
us like. And so like at the time I used to play on U Street. I used to play at like so many bars on U Street, the State of the Union,
Mhm.
and all these other places like in 930 Club, the Black Cat. I've done all these
Mhm.
things, DC Space.
Mhm.
We've played, but like when I started having kids, it's just like, wait a minute, if I keep doing that, I'm not gonna see how the kids are growing up. So with my
Mhm.
musical knowledge and understanding of music, I figured out, okay, I can use music in other ways. I can
Mhm.
still play my music. I could still get to hang out with other people. I didn't have to
Yeah.
be at the bars late at night and doing all this other stuff. You know, that was my thinking, and
Mhm.
I think it has served me well to think like that in that way,
Mhm.
because that I get to be a part of my kids' life. They got to learn music. We get to spend time together. We get to spend time with the community. So what I was saying is that initially we used to like occasionally play on the
Mhm.
front porch. So I understood what that was like and understand. And then there used to be block parties on Kilbourne Place.
Yeah.
But here's something a lot of people don't really understand. It's like there was a time in DC when if you wanted to close a block, you just talk to your neighbor. Hey man, listen man, like this Saturday, what you guys doing, man? And 3 or 4 people, 5 people would talk to each other,
Mhm.
and then they organize a party and everything, right?
Yeah.
That changed where things started becoming regulated. And when things become regulated, those people who are used to doing things fluidly just cannot do that because they don't have the time to go get the papers, the permits, and all
Mhm.
that
Mhm.
stuff to close the block. That kind of killed a lot of the cultural vibe, in my opinion.
Mhm.
Someone who's been observing and been a part of the situation, it's not been very helpful to then because culturally people just feel okay. Well, the people are trying to get us. They don't want us to do this. Da, 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 da. It goes on and on. Misunderstandings between people. I got
Do you
to I
think?
learned I got to learn how that system works of closing the block because I felt like this is something that's powerful. That's essential. That where you have situations where the community comes together and does things.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To me, it's not very complicated. A lot of things that are happening today is a result of people not communicating with each other
Mm.
until you have a problem.
You're right. That's the story. That's the forever story. But let me ask you this: do you think all those changes has would that fit the word? How do you call it? Gentrification.
Gentrification, that word is a loosely used word.
Mhm.
Now, the reason I say that is because like gentrification is happening because of people's understanding of the times that we live in, right?
Mhm.
Now, what do I mean by that? Remember, there was a time in DC, if you wanted to go to Target, you go to Silver Spring or you go to Maryland, if you want to go Home Depot, you have to go
Oh,
outside,
across. Yeah, yeah.
okay?
Mhm.
And so, because of modern technology, because of people's understanding of, hey, listen, man, why do I have to drive all the way to Silver Spring or whatever to go to a
Mhm.
hardware store? But all those things started coming into the city.
Mhm.
As a result of that, and I think the younger people understand that much better because it's like the green technology and all that kind of
Mhm.
stuff. Nobody wants to spend money on gas. They don't want to do this. That's part
Mhm.
of the whole thing. If you're paying attention, if anyone's paying attention, it's a
Mhm.
progression of things. We're evolving with technology, and we're
Mhm.
trying to understand how we can keep our lifestyle with the
Uh,
technology. Does that make sense?
yeah. I mean, yeah, but because it's been years, Franco. I moved to DC officially in 2001 when I started radio. So but it's been a process. DC wasn't like that when I moved in. It was totally different.
It was very different. Look, and I've been here since like 89, something like that.
Mm. Oof. So you've
Yeah.
seen that whole process.
Oh yeah, I've seen a lot of things. I used to live on 8th Street Northeast.
Uh-huh.
What? It's not the Northeast. Like 8th Street Northeast is not the Northeast
Hmm.
that you see now. That was like during the era of crack cocaine and all that kind of stuff going on. And it's
Whoa.
like, oh yes, there was it was.
It was
You
bad,
just
huh?
you were just happy you made it home safely every time you go stopped at your house.
Wow.
And then it was called the murder capital of the world, right? At that time.
I, I,
You remember that?
I heard that. I heard about it. I never lived it.
Yeah. Yeah. So lived through all that and stuff, But so I went to having come here, I went to UDC,
Hmm.
got a degree in political science and stuff, and I did music there, like my wife and I would always come to like, what's Hades,
Mm.
which used to be Trolleys. She used to like before it was called Trolleys. She used to like be right there by the bus stop. There's a whole lot of history that I kind of have observed over the years
Hmm.
and seen all these different places and different spaces change with different
Hmm.
owners, you know. Um, but going back to the radio, so we met at Radio CPR.
CPR, huh?
That and then that evolved for me to go to WPFW
Hmm.
in 9.3 FM. And so
Uh-huh.
before the pandemic, I had a show there called Live at 5
Hmm.
on WPFW every Friday from 5 to 6.
Hmm.
And where I got to meet a whole lot of musicians. And it was live music and conversation.
Wow.
For some reason, I don't know why they stopped that show, and I'm sure they keep rebroadcasting at some point. But like, I never listened to this. I don't have time to listen to like much radio these days. But like, it was a show that I thought was very, very interesting because I got to really connect with the community and brought musicians from the community
Hmm.
that people don't hear, that are really doing, people who are doing good things, doing good music, doing good art, whatever. I get to bring them into the studio, not just the people who are popular. But it was a good mix
Hmm.
of different
Hmm.
artists coming up on the show. And, to me, that was something that I thought would have. So during the pandemic, when the pandemic came, of course, nobody wants to go into the studio because of, the disease and everything, it's like, but I had really wanted to continue the show with the shows I invented on my front porch.
Your concept.
The concept which are the
Mhm.
6 feet party porch concerts.
That was that was the name of your show.
Yeah, it was called six Franco Jazz 6 feet party front porch concerts. That was the name of the show. And because of
Mhm.
the pandemic, and I kind of studied the whole thing for a while because to me the disease was an airborne disease, so you can be outside but you can still be safe, but like if you're inside with people, that's a little bit more vulnerable, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And so I just started doing these shows, and so this connections from the radio, the connections from playing live music outside and doing all these different places, all the different bars, was really helpful
Mm-hmm.
to bring in the community together, because I've been connected to all these people, singer-songwriters looking for a place to play. You had all
That's been
this,
you. That has been you ever since I know the concept of it. That you've always been community person.
yes, yes,
That's you.
yeah, because I've always believed this, and maybe I'm wrong, but charity begins at home, but it doesn't end there. You know what I mean? The charity, it starts in your house, your community, and then it goes outside. But
Mhm.
you can't say you're doing this and your community is in disarray.
Mhm.
To me, you know what I mean? It doesn't make sense.
Yeah. That concept I cannot change it out of my mind about you. Like you always went to co-working with a lot of people. You always surrounded by some sort of movement, but you're there. Like you keep yourself busy and the scene, and it's always community oriented. That's something that I think we all believe about you
Thank you
and
very much.
admire.
Thank you very
And
much. And
admire.
I you know what? I love it. I really love it, and I feel very lucky.
Mm.
You know, there's there are things that happen to you in life that you just have to sometimes just sit back and just say, God, this is great. Thank you. Appreciate it. You know what I mean?
You're right. You're right.
And I think a lot of times, sometimes we don't do that. We just, take things for granted. You know what I mean? I don't like to do that. I like to be introspective. Just sit back and
Mm.
keep thinking each day, because that's what keeps you living. You're
Mhm.
connected. Not just keep going and just keep going and keep going and keep going. It's like being in a, what do you call that thing? What do you call
On a
the roulette?
repetitive
Roulette.
pattern of life.
Exactly, repetitive part of life. You know.
Yeah, it's boring to me. It's boring. That's why after radio, the pandemic changed a lot of things. Like nowadays, I mean, honestly, well, everybody started doing the shows from their home and all that. But I mean, well, I'm talking about commercial radio, which I don't do
Hmm.
commercial radio ever, ever, ever.
Hmm.
And then now, like FM, I mean, nobody listens to it. Everything's online. Everything's this. You know what I mean? Like it, it, to me it gets better. The bad part is that I have to be careful what I play. Remember when we were conversating off air about the copyrights of your music, that if I wasn't gonna get reported by playing your music. That's something that you gotta be watching on your back now.
No, yeah, the thing about radio though also is the content. I think the content sells itself.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The content, what you're talking about and how you talk about it, the kind of the concept of your show is
Mm-hmm.
what's very important. It's really what people really want.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the concentration usually should be on things like that, you know,
Yeah.
as opposed to saying, okay, well, I'm just going to take this guy's music. You can have somebody beating a con, just one drum beat, and then for the intro, it doesn't really matter. The
Mm-hmm.
content is what people want, I
Yeah.
think.
Yeah.
and
You're
and
you're
and, and
you're right.
yeah, and that's the same thing with doing any kind of show. Like these shows. Well, first of all, content, consistency, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, like the shows, everything that I do, people know what to expect. I've been doing well. I got to give a shout out to Purple Patch. I've been doing this children's hour on the front porch for the last 5 years since the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let me tell you how a community really should work.
Go ahead. What?
Patrice came up to me and
Mm-hmm.
said, Franco, you're doing these front porch concerts. Would you like me to provide breakfast? It didn't come from me. I never asked her.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, really?
Mm-hmm.
She says, well, yeah, I'll provide for free. I'll donate breakfast.
Nice.
So for the last 5 years, every Saturday at 10:30 during the children's hour, we get pancakes, oranges, and waffles from Purple Patch.
Wow. Nice.
Now,
I'm sleepy about that.
there's a whole lot of information that people don't know.
Yeah, that's why we're here, because
see, there's another neighbor many years ago when we had struggles with live music. For some reason, I was supposed to do a show at Lamont Plaza. The power got shut off.
I remember that period of time.
You remember? Yeah, you remember that period. Yeah. So
I hated it with my guts. It's like, I'm not gonna say her name, but she was a freaking pain in the butt, man.
I know who you're talking about. I've never look. For the time I've been living in Mount Pleasant, I've never heard somebody's name that is so dark in everybody's ears.
Yeah.
You mention that name, everybody just like, whoa.
Yeah, no, I don't want to hear it.
You know?
What I mean? But what a dark period of time, man, for that neighbor.
Yeah, it was a bad time, and there are a lot of people who were struggling, who were in the fight for live music to Hades too, and a whole bunch of other places. But I'll tell you the story. So I had a show at Lamont Park, right? And they cut off the power because I don't know, through the government. I don't know how that power thing works there. But I went to Don Juan. Don Juan gave me, we put a
Alberto, man, Alberto. You can't go wrong with Alberto, man.
All the way from Don Juan across the thing to we still pulled off the show.
I see it happening. I can see it happening. I just pictured it.
You can't stop the party, man. But people don't know that the little things that you got to do. It's just like you can't. If it's meant to be, it's gonna be. It's not just us. It's everything that's around us that's making us do what we do. You know what I mean?
Man, I bet you she was pissed because she lives close by Don Juan. So I bet you she was shaking, like pissed, like
Yeah. But no, it's all cool. It's nice to see shows happening at Lamont Park. It's nice to see that you could go around the corner. You don't have to go to Adams Morgan to get some, to hear some light music, some jazz, and all these different things. It's nice to have that in your environment. And for me, that has been the main thing of just like, okay, making an environment that's good for all of us in so many different ways. Okay. The Mount Pleasant Artists Collective, that those guys, the artists, the painters and stuff.
Some of them.
But they have shows sometimes that they close, they take up the whole park.
I gotta get involved more and bring him on and expose.
You should talk to those guys and stuff like that, But I'll tell you, that started on my front porch during the pandemic.
I believe so, because you've been doing it.
It started with it started with Bethany Lee, one painter who lived 2 doors from me. And I said, like, it's like, you're a painter, why don't you just bring your stuff out there? And like, and then that grew. And then we started doing stuff in the parks and like the Triangle Park right there on Park Road and all these other different things, So much stuff that sometimes, now I'm talking to you, I remember, but I totally forget. Like, it's been a lot. Yeah.
No, but it's good. We gotta keep this up. Yeah. Now, I mean, that's a topic that I really want to get into. But I mean, what was your incidence or influence in that dark period of time? That it was like 12 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
That the people were like under that regime of that non-human person. I mean, how did you? Because I used to see you that you were able to sometimes perform, let's say, in front of the Save World. I don't know, Save. What was the name of that?
Best World.
Best Way or Best World. Well, but what it was there, you were able sometimes to get away with that, right?
I wouldn't call it getting away with it. It's just like sometimes when you want to do something, you have to be able to show what you're doing and let the people decide. You see, and
I mean, yeah, because but they were. But I wonder, did they used to mess with you when you? Because I remember you right there in the corner, and you were, I'm playing, I'm playing. I mean, you were like, you have
okay.
some balls, Franco, because we were
Yeah.
all chicken out. You know, honestly, like, so, you know, I used to talk on the radio about it, but not much I can do. I could do radio, but couldn't really affect directly. You know what I mean?
Well, DJ Wanako, I don't know if you remember, I ran for office. Uh, I ran for the ANC commissioner.
ANC government. Ah, yeah, 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 yeah,
At a certain point, I became the chair of the Mount Pleasant ANC.
yeah. Hmm.
Now, we operate with laws, and a lot of times people, when they don't understand the laws,
Hmm.
it is they may misunderstand how things work.
Hmm. You're right about it. You're totally right.
So I kind of did a lot of self-education and just understanding the environment that I live and the laws that apply to the environment that I live.
Hmm.
And so for me, that was very important to do that because this is where I'm raising my family. I need to be invested
Hmm.
in
And
this
well aware
community.
of your decisions, because you can't take a decision like above the law. You know, like you're right. You gotta know the laws to take the right
Exactly.
decision. To
And
take
I
the
think
right.
sometimes, yeah. And I think sometimes some people take for granted that people don't know the laws, so they circle things around them.
Yes, that's what was happening.
Yeah. And I know that's that's what I'm saying. I know
That's what was happening.
that's why I ran for office. That's
Hmm.
why I said like no, wait a minute. I don't understand this. I have a
Hmm.
degree.
Hmm.
I have some education. I understand languages. I speak French. I speak Spanish. I know the people I deal with. You can't say things about people that you don't know, that you don't even get a chance to even talk to.
Hmm. Hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
To me that was problematic in the first place. You can't sit in your I say ivory tower, but you can't just sit in your house and then you start judging other people without even talking to them.
Hmm.
And that's a fear. To me, that's a fear of engagement. That's a fear of just like, and everything gets done on the internet. People say things about you. At one point we had the Mount Pleasant Forum. People saying things about you. You don't even, and then the next day they say hi to you.
Yeah.
You don't know who's talking to you. I mean, come on,
Yeah.
man. That kind of stuff is just in a small community like this to me was something I really, really did not like.
There's like, because there were
Spooky.
yeah, spoken, and there will be decisions being taken there
Yes.
without asking us.
Without asking anybody. So I used to go to the ANC meetings, right? It was La
Mhm.
Casa. That's
Like I
the
say,
place. At La Casa. I go in there. These guys are making serious decisions. There's only three guys or four
three,
guys in the
three,
room,
four. What the fuck?
in a dark room, and I'm sitting there listening to these guys. And then they use what they use as like what do you call the Robert's Rules of Law.
Hmm.
If somebody doesn't want to talk about something he doesn't like, they shove it apart. Yeah, to be table this, table that. You know,
Yeah.
and so I had to. I went many times. I needed to understand how this works,
Hmm.
and I think a lot of us. So I'm sorry to say it. A lot of us immigrants do not take the time to understand where we have moved to.
I hate to admit it, but you're right.
I'm not going
We
to say it
used
if it. you
yeah,
know,
I hate to say it, but you're right, because and that's when those wrong decisions are taken, and then time goes by and they become a rule, and we're getting stopped in the face, like stamped in the face, and
yeah,
we don't know. By then, it's a whole rule, and there you are,
yeah,
left aside.
yeah. And it's I really thank God for going to UDC because UDC was what really woke my mind up about a lot of things. Because there was a whole lot of like activity, that made me more conscious.
aware
Even
that.
yeah, more aware. Even though I'm from Nigeria and stuff, I got to understand American history, and especially
It's where we live,
yeah,
Franco.
this
So
is where we
we.
live. You know, and African American. I started with the African American history because I need to understand that because
Mhm.
as well as I do, there's usually like some friction between African Americans and Africans, African Americans and Latinos.
Mhm.
Even though we do have a lot of commonalities.
No, they're coming on, yeah. But there are levels, honestly. You know what? I tell you this is a quick story. My boss, I used to work for the United Nations, okay, back in El Salvador, in the
Hmm.
peacekeeping process. My boss was from what was it? How is this country called? He's a highly intelligent guy. Well, what was his Mr. Quapon? What was
Ghana.
Ghana, Ghana.
I know
Maybe
just from the name.
just because you know, yeah, Mr. Quapo, Harold Quapo. I mean, I'll say this in there, but because it's true, he would hate to come through the United States when he had to do connection. He would pay extra to fly from anywhere else because he had a hate for African Americans. And then I'm like, Guapo, but you know better. He was an intelligent person, like prepared,
Hmm.
like numbers and everything. But he's like, no, they have all the chances and they don't get prepared. It's not fair that we have to go to. I'm like, Guapo, but I mean, I don't know. I don't, like it was the story of his life. Like he was hating, and now that I'm here, and I'm like, there's no reason. I don't see any reason to hate somebody based on
You know,
his. Huh?
what really sometimes it really kind of frustrates me that a lot of immigrants have come here. I read on, I don't know, I read on. It really doesn't matter where you're from, but like
Mm.
the African American struggle is what is giving us all the rights that we have today.
Thank you, thank you, thank
The
you.
civil rights struggle. You talk about any kind of rights, gay rights, work rights, workers' rights, all kinds of came from the civil rights struggle, and
Mm-hmm.
it's the struggle of African Americans, and that's why you can't judge people and say, oh, when you see things, oh well, you know what, these people don't know. Yeah, well, you eating from the top.
Uh-huh. you,
I'm
you're
sorry, you
sitting
eating
on
from the
the
top.
result of all that happened. So
Mhm.
please, at least respect for Christ's
At
sake.
least respect it. That's all. At least respect it. And be grateful for it.
Mhm.
When that doesn't happen, I don't know what to say. It's like you're not
Yeah.
connected. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're far from reality, and I can't stand that kind of criteria,
Hmm.
Franco. No,
Yeah.
I'm like, That's when I said to myself, I'm wasting my time here in this conversation. Like because you'll find people out there like that.
Oh,
I,
there too. I see it all the time. It's like, who do you think you are? First of
yeah,
all, you
to
know,
begin with.
to begin with, who do you think you are?
Mhm.
People struggle. You're eating from the top, you're benefiting and stuff, but you don't know where things come from. You better know where things come from because sometimes that's why sometimes we get into situations where everyone's like surprised. I'm like, I'm not surprised. You ignored it in the beginning. It was right there before your face,
Mhm.
and now we're playing catch up.
Yeah, sometimes people don't understand that it was worse before. Now it's gotten better. That was my next question, Franco. The, do you see things getting better in our area, at least in our neighbor, and things are flowing right now? I mean, what do you see that's going on? I mean, as an artist or as a because you have a movement, not only music movement, but you there, your presence, you're part of this community. What do you see coming up? Do you think it's getting better or worse, or what's your concept so far? You can answer me socially or economically or artistically. Talk to me.
I don't know. I mean, that's a very good question. I'm in recent years, I've been very optimistic
Mhm,
about the neighbors that are moving, people, the young people that are moving
mhm,
into the neighborhood.
mhm,
Because because like Mount Pleasant has changed from a neighborhood of being just group houses, to becoming more family oriented. More, I've seen like in the last few years, for like 5, 10 years, more families, young families with kids are have moved into Mount Pleasant.
mhm,
So the demographics of young people have moved, and also it's still group houses and young people, moving in. What I've seen is some kind of resurgence of commitment to community
mhm,
by a lot of young people. So I'm encouraged by that.
mhm,
When I'm doing things, neighbors would come by and say, "Hey, can I help? Can I help you? You need help doing this." I never used to get that. What I used to get was like, "Oh, oh, would you need help?" And then when it comes to the time to help, they're not there.
mhm. There was a period of time that I was just like that. You're right.
Yeah, people just just talk. Everyone talk, big mouth. They just say a lot of big things. And, oh, I can do this. I can do this. Come on, crazy. It
Mhm,
sounds good at the time. When it comes to really doing, they're not there. I got
mhm,
tired of that. And and then most of the time, thank God with my kids, I have kids who are talented. They know exactly what to do and stuff. We used to do all these things by ourselves when they lived here, but now they all live in
mhm,
Berlin, Germany. But like, we used to do things ourselves and just make it happen still.
mhm,
But now the young people, a lot of people are coming out, volunteering, coming out and helping out, and we set things up, we break things down, we put on shows. I'm in, connection with a lot of musicians, artists, and especially a community like this that's very versatile, that's very diverse. That's the gift. That's the beauty of Mount Pleasant, I think. It's the richness of Mount Pleasant that many other communities don't have.
I mean, you said it right because I've been in some other communities and they don't have the variety that we do hold, Franco. I've been in some other communities and it's
They
like
don't. No.
they don't.
You drive down streets, neighbor. I used to do that a lot. Like after I get
Mhm,
off work late in the evening, I just like
mhm.
just drive around, and even sometimes during the day, I just drive to different neighborhoods, different streets, and see what's going on.
Mhm.
Wow, it's we're
Mhm.
blessed to be in Mount Pleasant, man. I'm telling you, man.
Yeah,
It's a
that's why I
blessing.
came back. That's why I came back. I'm like, man, this is my neighborhood. I mean, it is what it is. It's not perfect. But now that I'm gonna answer the same question. I've seen a lot of things getting better. Even though communication wise, which is my field, it's gonna get back on track, like back when I was in radio and back to support local movements, all sorts of movements. I need to get back, but it's not as tight as that period of time that we used to live at, Franco. Jazz.
Yes, yeah. It's not. No, it's not. I think also, technology has helped us to be able to do things more fluidly. Things that used to like it used to be too much of a headache to put together and stuff, like like this right here. Before, if we were doing it like radio CPR, we would have
Mhm.
been messing with so many wires and stuff, making sure.
You made a big
you know
point.
what
It
I-
was it was it was a hassle. You're right,
yeah,
right. It was a hassle. So now we just got together, and I remember off air I was telling you like a few days ago or a month ago that you should get back communication, but with something that you do have. I mean, that's you.
yeah,
That's you.
yeah.
That's you. And yeah, man, and that we need opinions like yours. The experience that you have, that somehow, some way you help another. You're gonna influence a lot of people that don't know that process that we've been through, because we cannot forget what we went through, because
hmm
if we forget, then it's when those ghosts show up because they always no ghosts, but they have a different name. Those hunters
Hmm.
they're always looking for that moment, and that we are not paying attention to what's going on in our environment, and they boom, they
Yes.
get power. So
Yeah.
no, no, no. That's what I'm saying. I'm letting you, if you could like come back, and you always, although you've always been busy in the community. I said at the beginning, and I'm gonna say it again. But I'm sure using your all what you collected, you will help us all, because we're not gonna say it all through the night. We're
No,
not.
no, we don't. No, there's like this, But I'm glad we're having this conversation because sometimes, people see things, they don't know what's behind it, or they just don't understand, why, a person would commit their time and energy to certain things.
Mhm.
But I think at this point in my life, I'm like, and it's actually always been like, when you're doing something that's worth doing, it has to have a sustaining value.
Yeah.
It's not something you just gotta do. I want to just be famous today. Boo, 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 and then
No.
rush you. Right? Oh yeah. You might be on the news, you might be on that stuff, but it has no sustaining value.
Yeah, you have to have a goal. Like to me, well, radio, I just wanted people to I mean, to get informed of what was going on. That's what I used to do in Spanish. Inform yourself, and because I can't stand the format of commercial radio. There, just jokes and jokes and stupidity. No,
Hmm.
no,
It's got to be
no, I
entertaining.
cannot do that. That's why I will never do commercial radio. Just community radio. And
I want to share something with you just to plug this in.
yeah,
It's like
but I mean, like, I don't know, but to me, it's had a purpose for me. For example, the reason why I brought you is because I've known you so much, I admire you so much, and it's like, yo, we gotta bring him up.
Mhm. I appreciate that, man. It's nice
To
to
me,
be able
that
to.
is very important. That I'm like, yo, I got Franco Jazz on my show, and people know who you are, and
Hello, I can't hear you.
breaking up.
Oh yeah, breaking up. But
You got frozen.
yeah, it's okay. But I would like to say it's a pleasure to be on your show because the thing is, it's like people get to hear certain conversations that we don't normally have. You
Mhm.
know, we don't have.
Yeah.
Which we should have more and more of these conversations, lighthearted conversations.
Yeah,
About
yeah,
things
because
and stuff. But I wanted to tell you something also about Mount Pleasant.
I
You
got.
know, one of the
Mhm.
things that like recently I just did a project with a young man's artist collaborated Sid Satellite, right? And so we did this. I did this
Hey, what's up? What's up?
collaboration.
What's up?
He's part of this project that the music that you played, Caminando with Gabolora,
Um,
your intro song.
Gabito, yeah.
That intro song.
Awesome.
That's
Mhm.
part of a project that I did with musicians from Mount Pleasant, mostly. And so what I did was I composed one beat. It's called One Beat DC Volume 2. I composed one
I saw
beat.
that. I saw your stamp. So that's your stamp nowadays, Franco Jazz?
Well, that's one stamp for that project.
Okay.
For that project because it's a series. I did volume 1 and I did volume 1 was with like HR from Bad Brains. You know Bad Brains? You should
Yeah.
know them.
Whew. Huh.
Yeah,
Oh my God.
HR was part of that project. Courtney
Really?
Dow, yes, was part. Look it up, Spotify. You'll see volume 1 and then volume 2. So I did these projects where I composed the beat and I have all these different musicians coming to the studio and spontaneously write to the beat.
Mhm.
And
Awesome.
the imagination, the creativity is just one to, it makes me think how the possibilities that are out there in terms of working together. You know what I mean? And so
See?
yeah, so like Sid Satellite, we just did this one, and you should look it up. It's on YouTube. It's on my YouTube channel, the Franco Jazz YouTube channel. It's Sid Satellite. It's called Born in a Different Time Zone.
All right,
It's on that same thing on Spotify. Yeah. So, you know,
Let me-
so these are the kind of projects I like to do, collaborating with musicians, composing music, performing music, but at least doing it in a way that makes people feel good.
Mhm. Let me write down so we can share. So because this show, like, let me tell you, my shows are seen. I mean, my audience is mostly 2 or 3 or 4 in the morning, because that's when people get out of work, and that's when all these shows are listened to. Because why, I don't know. I mean, all my interviews, they start getting hits at 1, 2, 3 in the morning, because that's when people get out of the job.
Don't
So
worry about
I
it, man. Give
hold
me a
on.
second,
Let
man.
me
Yeah,
let me write
listen,
down
man.
the.
You can keep talking. I gotta use the little boy's room, man.
Okay, Frank.
How much time? How much more time do we have?
No. We're almost done. We're 5 minutes. All the interviews have 1 hour.
Yeah,
Okay,
give me a
time
second, man.
one. Okay, Frank. Oh, yes. That's how they can look for you in the Spotify, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. I'm out. Yeah, that's what I
Alright,
want.
YouTube.
And YouTube.
Okay. Correct me if that's right, my man. In the screen.
Started with a C.
Yeah, it looks right, but it's all together.
Okay.
Frank
Let
Ortega.
me change it. Let me change it. Let me change it. Let me change it.
FRNKO.
And no period. Yeah, all together.
Okay. Let's do that. Let's do that. Yeah, because as I said, this show is listened like as soon as people get no period, right? Hold up. Correct me. Uh,
Yeah, perfect.
it,
I
it,
saw there was.
awesome. So yeah, man, that's what I was telling Franco Jasmine, that I need to be supporting local movements back again, man. Back
Yeah.
again.
I'm back, man. Sorry.
I got it. That's
Emergencia.
right. That's how they can look for you,
Emergencia.
right?
What was that?
That's right?
Yeah, man. Yeah. FRNKOJ is easy. That's it.
Okay. Yeah, because as I was telling you, that, like, my audience, for some reason, it's from 1 to 3 in the morning. That's when it kicks. They start arguing, talking, and giving opinion, and I'm asleep already for the most part. I don't know why.
So, wait,
It's
so you broadcast to El Salvador?
well. We are coming out from 8 different places, including yours. So
Mm,
it's a whole thing.
nice, man.
But
That's good.
partly from El Salvador, yeah. But there's a page that is music oriented, that it goes to various communities in Mexico, and yeah, it's just a variety.
That's
That's why I
nice. Yeah.
get to play. That's how I get to play, like a little bit of hip hop, a little bit of, but when they're not, how do you call it? When they are not on in the system, when they're independent, that's when I can air music. Because if not, the other one, it's not in the system, and the song, the intro, that's why they didn't stop it, because they block me if I play a Madonna song or something, I don't know,
Oh
mainstream.
yeah. You can, but honestly, the way I see it, if you're trying to promote like things that are happening locally, you should be using local stuff.
Yeah, that's
You know
what
what I mean?
I've done. Yeah, that's what I used to do. So that's why it's just like, yeah. I don't want to be messing with no Main Street artists. They have that stupid ass commercial radio already. I don't
Yeah,
need to promote that crap. No.
yeah.
You
Well,
know
I
when,
think a lot of independent artists like we are, and we're trying to do things somehow a different way.
yeah.
In a way, that's more kind of realistic to improving. No, I wouldn't say. Well, I would say like appreciating people appreciating what we do. That's what I call it. An appreciation of what we do can come in different ways.
Yeah.
Appreciation can come in terms of money, but like the fact that people are connected to what you're saying, to what you're doing, and they support you, they come out to your shows,
Mhm.
they come out to whatever it is that you're doing, they trust you, they know that that you're consistent,
Mhm.
in whatever it is that you're putting out. You know what I mean? So
I'm gonna
that's a
I'm gonna do this this cut that I really wanna to do that you're working on a new place with this. That's something that is a stamp of yours too. That you support a business here in Mount Pleasant that is coming out. That is called La Doña, right?
yes. Let's talk about
This is
that,
a
La
mention.
Doña.
This is a mention that I really want to do. I want to make a little cut about it. Talk to me, because this is a
Okay.
commercial moment.
Okay.
Talking
La
about
Doña.
support, though. Talking about support.
No. We have to do that. And La Doña Cafe is a very interesting place. Okay, so I travel a lot, right? So especially in the summertime to go see our three kids in Berlin, Germany. And when I go with my guitar and I go to different open mics and places and stuff, right?
Hmm.
And I've always loved doing open mics and hosting open mics. But I will
That's you.
also, yeah, you know
That's
what I mean?
all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so like I went to this place called the Donar 115, and they inspired me in a different way in terms of how they ran the open mics and what the open mics looked like and how it felt like.
Hmm.
The only component they don't have that I do is I put a kiddie karaoke, the kids karaoke. So every Friday, every Tuesday from
Tuesday.
6 to 9. Every Tuesday, mixing up my shows. But every Tuesday I do a show from 6 to 9 at La Doña Cafe.
La
And
Doña.
La Doña, yeah.
La
It's on the
Doña.
corner of across
With
from
that
Haiti.
Doña, like it means Mrs.
The
That's what it means.
missus.
The Mrs. It's a grown up lady. That's a respectful grown up lady, Doña. That's how you address somebody that is grown and respectful, dude. When you're a Doña, watch out,
Yeah.
relax. You're
Yeah.
gonna get slapped in the face. Yeah, it's a heavy word
It's
in
a
Spanish.
heavy term, yeah. Yes.
It's a heavy term. It's like,
Yeah.
don't talk too much, you punk ass.
Yeah. You don't mess around at La Doña's place, yeah.
No,
Nope.
no, no, no,
Yeah.
no.
And so
You know
like
what I'm saying?
she
The word itself, at the place. Oh, I would always gonna say is like it's getting better, and you guys find the niche. Like it's a corner with sun. Talk to me.
Well, the thing about okay, there are a number of things. There are so many reasons. There are some reasons why I do things. I just don't do things, for the sake of doing. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
It has to make sense to me
Hmm.
to
You gotta
do
have
it.
a reason.
There's got to be a reason, and that's a spot that's it's a strategic spot because it's also beautiful. The outdoor cafe, the outdoor
Hmm.
space, and then inside it's intimate, and so like when they asked me to do it through a friend whether I could help out, I said, okay, this is what I think we should do here.
Hmm.
I just don't want to do the same thing I do everywhere else to do it there. I wanted to do something a little bit special that for the space, it's not a bigger space. And so I just said, okay, well, I'll do a kiddie karaoke. It would be nice for kids to come out and sing before they
Very
go to bed.
cozy.
Very cozy. Have dinner. The food's good. The drinks are good. They got cocktails and stuff like that. I'm sure they're going to be coming up with some more drink specials. But it's a nice atmosphere where the community comes together, and especially now is the time to kind of do that because we're going to the winter time.
Yeah, winter time.
To
Yeah,
go into a place
but
where you can
then,
get good singer
but then,
songwriters
uh,
and singers just to keep us going. You know what I mean?
yeah, yep. Yeah, I like the concept. But then it's gonna get cold. But remember the. I mean, I have to go race here, but white people like to go outside and have some some ice cream in the outside. That's something that they do. They do, and so that spot, I think it's getting there because I've seen it lately.
Yeah, but we're doing it on the inside now. Now it's getting cold. I mean, so like for example, I did it yesterday. If you go on my Instagram page, you will see some of the artists that I featured from yesterday's show on my Instagram page. You'll see it. Yeah,
How can people find you in Instagram? If
it's
we get-
Franco Jazz. Instagram pages FrankoJazz.
just like that.
Yeah, just like what you got there. Yeah.
All right.
So that's my Instagram page. So I take clips of everything that's happened. So you'll see different musicians, varied musicians that have performed at La Doña. And you'll see it will make sense as to why it's called La Doña, because you get to hear some really good performances and expressions of art, and music.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to keep on working on this, Franco. I want to say thank you so much and the help right there. What is his name?
Sid Satellite.
Sid, what's up, Sid? Thank you for helping out. And
Yeah, you want to take a look at his face right there.
hey, what's up, man? How you doing? Nice to meet you.
I'm good. Likewise.
So if you check out that video that I told you about, Born in a Different Time Zone, on my either on Franco Jazz page or
Just search up Franco Jazz, Born in a Different Time Zone. It'll
yeah,
show up.
Franco Jazz, Born in a Different Time Zone,
Born in
and that's a
Different-
collaboration with Sid, All right, but it's been a pleasure talking to you.
Yeah, thank you so much
Yeah.
for
Yeah.
giving us the chance, and let's keep on working, man, because we gotta keep on supporting movements. I mean, my Wednesdays is called Martes Musicales because on Wednesday I support like other days I do political crap, but I'm getting sick of it. I'm getting done with it,
Yeah,
and so I needed to go back to support local movements, especially music. That's what I'm more oriented to.
good idea.
Mhm.
Good idea. All
All
right.
right, nice seeing you guys, and thank you so much. Well, we'll keep in contact. All right.
To be
And keep up with it, Franco.
to be continued, man. Take good care of DJ Wanako.
Guys, thank you.
Be
Franco.
well, man. Peace.
You too. Peace.
All right, brother.